Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about stage one of the 3 stages of divorce. Stage one is thinking about it. Stage two is going through it. And stage three is putting it behind you. So if you'd like more information on stage one of divorce, keep watching. Okay, so stage one of divorce, thinking about it. I don't believe there's a woman on the planet who hasn't at some point wondered, what if? What if I weren't married? What would my life be like? What's happening right now? And how would it be different if I weren't married? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's really truly contemplating divorce. It simply means that something is going on in her life right now. Something needs to change. She knows something needs to change, but she's not quite sure what it is and how to do it. And when that happens, fear comes up. We tend to feel fearful. And when we even start contemplating, what if I weren't married? That brings on a whole new set of fear-based thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and emotions, because then we start to question ourselves. We feel guilty. We feel like we're not being grateful for where we are, and we judge ourselves so harshly. So when you're thinking about divorce, meaning I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, one of the first questions that you can ask yourself is, why don't I want to be in this relationship? This work is very internal, very personal. And for you to get the answers that you're looking for without the judgment and without the criticizing of yourself, you have to be able to answer some really important questions. So one of the questions being, why am I feeling like this? Am I feeling trapped? What's going on? What is my mind trying to make sense of that's making me feel unrestful, that's making me feel out of sorts? Because we get scared because we think that just because we're wondering, what if I weren't married anymore, that means we're headed for divorce. And that's not true at all. Maybe you're realizing that your relationship with your spouse needs to have some communication. Maybe there's something that you've been experiencing day after day after day, and you know that something needs to shift, something needs to change, but you're reluctant to have that conversation. And you have some fear-based thoughts that, well, if you do bring it up, if you do say something, then that means you're going to be headed for divorce. So give yourself permission to know that thinking about it is simply thinking about it. When thoughts are coming up, give yourself permission to say, why am I thinking this? What's going on? What is it that I am resisting or not wanting to pay attention to because I'm so afraid that divorce is imminent? Stage one of divorce is such an important stage because how you deal with it, how you see it, how you act upon it will affect the other 2 stages, going through it and putting it behind you. And just because you're in stage one of divorce, thinking about it, it doesn't mean that it's ever going to go any farther than that. And wouldn't it be wonderful if you could really come to terms with what you're thinking about, what your mind is trying to share with you, so that you can be empowered around this stage of divorce? Maybe there's a conversation that you need to have with your spouse, but you believe that your spouse is not going to be open to the conversation. Maybe there's some changes that you've made in your personal being, and now you wish that your spouse would do the same. So it's more and more difficult for you to have that connection together, that relationship connection, because you find yourself judging your spouse. Well, if he or she would only do this, then I would be happier. If he or she really loved me, then I wouldn't have to ask for what I want. They would already know. If he or she really loved me, we wouldn't be having this turmoil. But here's the thing. No one can read another person's mind. We must get to the point where we have open lines of communication. But this needs to be healthy, loving communication. And before you go to your spouse and say, I want X, Y, and Z, be very clear on what your wants and needs are. Where are you in this whole process? What is not happening for you that you want to be happening for you? And how can you give those wants to yourself? As you start realizing that everything is an inside job, everything that you want is readily available, you do have the ability and the capability to bring what you most desire into your life. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your marriage has to end in order to have it. So if you are in stage 1 of divorce, thinking about it, and you really do not want your marriage to end, start asking yourself some of these questions. What is it that I really want? What is it that I feel is missing? How can I give myself these things that I feel is missing? And you need to take 100% responsibility for this. You know, as long as you're blaming your spouse or your significant other for whatever you feel is lacking in your life, then that means what you're doing is you're actually looking to another person to give you what you truly want. And that has to come internally. That has to come from ourselves. That's an old mindset of cause and effect. If so-and-so would do this, then I could have this. That's antiquated. That energy is no longer even acceptable, because we know you can go to too many sources now and find information on the power of manifesting from within. So if there's something that's not quite right in your relationship, something that you're afraid to take a look at, something that you feel, if I open up this line of discussion, then it's my marriage is going to end, and that makes you fearful, because then all of the what ifs and all of the negative mind chatter starts coming in. How will I support myself? How will I support the children? How will the children handle this? What do we do with our family, our friends? What is that? We have so many thoughts that run through our minds based on what we believe divorce means. So if you are in stage 1 of divorce, but divorce is not really what you want, and you would really, really like to get some answers, start asking yourself these questions and see how everything can change for you and how you can open new lines of communication and really start having, doing, and being what it is that you say you want to have, do, or be within the relationship. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love for you to leave them in the comment section. And if this information helped you, please subscribe to the channel, share this message with someone else, because there are so many people right now who are spending more and more time with their spouse or significant other, and they're finding some really challenging questions are coming up, and they're not sure what to do with it. And because they're not sure what to do with it, they're sitting in these fear-based beliefs that something's got to end in order for something really magnificent to happen within the relationship. So leave some comments. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll be sure to get back with you. And in the meantime, have a fabulous rest of your week. This is Nancy Muller saying ciao for now.